And we are live here to chat about tonight's episode of Arrow, which is called Crossing Lines, which is super ominous. I have with me one of my faves, one of your faves, Miss Raquel. Say hi.
Hi everyone. Nice to be here. Nice to chat with you, Cami.
Yes, I'm so excited she's here. You can't see what I'm doing when she's on screen, but I was like framing her face with my hands. I'm just really excited. I love having her on all the time, but I especially love having her on at times where I feel like the plot is starting to go like there can be different perspectives, there can be different sides, and Raquel always keeps me grounded and keeps me from going way off the deep end too far onto one side, which I'm about ready to do because literally like 5-10 minutes ago, I was literally just tweeting like, oh my God, Dragon's monologues. I can't. I want to love the Longbow Hunters. The villain's losing me again. I need to be brought back. Raquel's here to bring me back. I'm really happy about it. So, as we always do, starting with our ratings on a scale from 1 to 5, 1 being you hated everything about it, 5 being you loved everything about it. Raquel, where are you? Start us off.
I think I'm comfortably sitting at a 3.8. And I know I did this last time where I did a 3.5. But I'm leery of giving it a 4 because I think it's just my emotions right now where I'm okay and I'm fine with it. But 3.5, I think it did what it needed to do. I was very invested in everything that was happening. So, okay, let's go to 3.8. 3.8. We'll stick with 3.8. Yeah.
3.8 I think is good, and that's a really I like your rationale behind it. And looks like the chat might kind of be around the same range as you as well. Stormy says hi, and she gives this episode a 3.5. Rengoku says hello. Hello, Rengoku. I've missed you the past couple weeks. I think I'm around there as well. I think I'm like a solid 3.5. There were some parts of this episode where if I'm doing that really short-term thing where I'm comparing it just to the season premiere, which I love the season premiere, then I'm like, ooh, but it's not as good, which is really unfair, and not every episode is supposed to be like a season premiere. We're supposed to build, we're supposed to have ebbs and flows, and that's fine. If I start comparing it though to like some of the past couple seasons, I think I'd rate it higher because I think that there's like some really strong elements that the show's bringing back in where it kind of feels like not like a greatest hits thing where they're revisiting past plots, but like a greatest hits where it's like the best parts of Arrow so far. And looking at the chat, Rengoku says he's giving it a 4. Amanda says hello. Carrie says he's checking in between Legends commercials to say 3.92. And Stormy's jumping in. Felicity is right. Diaz loves his stupid long monologues. Okay, Raquel, talk to me about the plot this season. Talk to me about the dragon, the longbow hunters, everything. What are you liking about the plot and the villains? What are you not liking? I know I usually started off with like pros and cons, but I really want to hear what you're thinking about like our villains, our big bads.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Now the thing is, for me, longbow hunters has been a buzzword for a while because I mean, I have very like a minimal kind of familiarity with them from comics, like the mentions and different series and stuff. So I know that they're a big deal. So I was interested to see what Arrow would do with these characters, and to have Ricardo Diaz in the works with that as well. And now we had what's her first name? It's not what's Silencer, but what's her?
Oh, Hunt Hope.
Is it Hunter? Honor?
It's like a single syllable starts with an H. Chat, help me out. The one that they kidnapped, right?
Yes, yeah. Like I was very intrigued by her. So for me, the villains this season it hasn't felt like this regular thing that we do where we do this big build up and you don't know who the person is and they're being all sneaky and la la la, and we're like, oh my gosh, then we get to the mid-season and our breath is catching and someone gets hurt and that like it's good. I'm not taking
like the good formula. Yeah.
It's worked, it's served its purpose in the past. I'm not saying anything against past seasons, but this season it feels nice to have time to explore the multitude of villains that they have right now, and none of them seem to have this caricature of being a giant, like, oh, look at me and my evil plan. It's just they're bad and they're being bad, and they're not focused on you know, just trying to be dorky. I don't know if that makes sense. But
it does. I think that's what I kind of wanted from Siren last season. Like, I wanted her to be bad just for the sake of being bad. And I know, like, that's kind of been a hot topic because I don't know. I would say almost nobody wants Siren to be redeemed, and Siren's being redeemed, and it's really frustrating. If you do want Siren to be redeemed, that's fantastic. I don't, and I'm just kind of just generalizing to everybody, I guess. But I know a lot of the chat has commented on that as well. And so I think that is something that I do appreciate about the Longbow Hunters. We meet them all at once. It's kind of the reverse of last season, because last season we had a big bad who we didn't really know, right? Dragon, and then all of his like backups were people like Anatoly, Siren, who we've like sort of met before. Now it's the opposite. We got a big bad that we know and maybe love, maybe don't, Dragon, and all of his backups. We meet them right off the bat, but they're not people we know. I, for one, am strongly in the camp of being more interested in the Longbow Hunters than I am in Dragon. Also in the chat, Rengoku says that the villainess who was captured, he said her name sounded like Honor with a strong H, like Honor.
Yeah, I think it is Honor. I think it's Honor. Yeah.
Honor.
Sure. Let me like quickly double check that with the handy dandy Google.
Yeah, I think it was Honor, which is really interesting too, as just as the villain names.
It is Honor. Honor Guest. Honor Guest.
Honor Guest. Ooh, it's interesting. It's a very comic booky name. Yeah. I like that they're going with a very comic booky villain like set, and that it's one like that's key from the Green Arrow comics, because you know people sort of jokingly teased about Green Arrow villains are often like Batman villains, and Longbow Hunters maybe a little bit different. Stormy says Diaz is now pretty much drugged up slave from season 2, minus the interesting character and actual fear he instills. Amanda pointed out, this is a good one because I did not notice this till you said this, Amanda. There were no flash forwards and no new Green Arrow, the Hood. What do you think about that?
You know what Beth did mention? I'm pretty sure she mentioned in an interview that we wouldn't have flash forwards every episode.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that because, I mean, as I think Emily said in an interview as well, is when you have these flash forwards, you know, you're committing to a lot of stuff. And I would be a little nervous if they were doing flash forwards every episode, because you have to introduce something new each time. Otherwise, we're going to get that island flashback with Oliver and No Name Ma'am, who was in the cornfield or something. And it was just, no one cared.
Yeah.
So glad that they're taking their time and pacing it with the flash forwards. I'm also glad that they're taking their time with Green Arrow, because there's all sorts of theories floating around on Twitter about who is good, and I'd rather they take their time and give this character to us at their own pace.
I agree. I like that the flashbacks are not going to be like, they'll be, I'm sure, a little bit formulaic, but they aren't going to be formulaic in the every 20 minutes we cut to 5 minutes of flashbacks, flash forwards, regardless. I like that we're getting clues just when they need to be dropped, and that they're not overdoing the screen time for it. Although I will say I am liking the flash forwards better than I like most of the flashbacks. Kind of went either way. And I'm just sort of, I don't really have an opinion on the Green Arrow new person, whatever thing. I've seen all the spoilers and stuff. I'm just waiting to see how it's introduced. I think it'll be interesting. I don't think I'm going to end up like disliking it. I think I'm going to end up liking it, but I'm just going to kind of like wait and let it happen and see how it goes down. But yeah, you've got the heroes very spread out right now, and I'm kind of okay with that, because every time the team kind of comes together, one of the issues I was having on the hero side was with the lack of authority structure, and I felt like that was slowing the team down. Felicity's my favorite character, so I can be a bit biased, and I kind of see her as the next logical leader in the absence of Oliver and Diggle. She has seniority, she has the knowledge, you know, whatever. But they're not necessarily doing as she's saying, except for sort of Renee, which we'll come back to that. What are you thinking about our like Team Arrow splintered, fractured situation?
Team Arrow pancake. They're all I like you. I'm also interested in it right now. I like how Felicity has really been clear about what it is that she wants to do, goals, and she's not letting, you know, Red Tin bureaucracy and anything like that stand in her way. I appreciate now Diggle last week. I mean, I obviously wasn't talking last week, but last week was very frustrating and sad to see the way that Diggle reacted to Felicity about getting help with her mission. But I'm also glad that they were separate for this episode, only because I got to have this moment with Dyla, Diggle, and Lila. I thought that was, I always love episodes where we get to see them together in the field. I really appreciate their dynamic. I think it often acts as a mirror image of things that are happening in Oliver and Felicity's life. But even outside of Oliver and Felicity, that connection is just very sweet. And there's a maturity, I guess, about the relationship that I don't feel that we get across not even just Arrow, but sometimes the CW. Diggle and Lila have there's something about their relationship that I think is very unique and special in the Arrowverse. But back to your original question about the team. I like that they're splintered. I don't think that anyone's in the right place right now, and I don't know if I'm in the right place right now to watch them all try to huddle again together, because that they have to work through. I mean, Dinah is now, is she about the law, or does she still remember that there was things the law couldn't do, and which is why she put on a mask in the first place? Renee is, well, he's got his daughter back and he's working through all his stuff with this community and now helping Felicity. Like, I want them to continue to spread out. Curtis spread out. Like, I don't know if I'm ready to see them all in the bunker for a while. And I'm actually wondering, like, do you think that they're going to get together anytime soon? Like, or do you think we will have to wait for maybe mid-season for that?
I think we will have to wait for mid-season, because I think that they've started a lot of storylines that are going to take time for them, for some. And then for others, I think they're kind of slowly reintroducing them. Like, I, for one, optimistically think that they're just fully reintroducing Renee in general. That a lot of the character traits that they had for him, that they kind of wanted him to have as his ongoing thing, they're dropping and revisiting. And it makes sense, because even if you are continuing a character trait, if you put it in the hands of a different mind, it's going to be interpreted differently. So I would say, for example, when Renee was introduced, one of the character traits he was supposed to have is being rebellious or independent, right? Or resistant to authority, things like that. In the hands, this show has switched hands, showrunners, right? I think most of those watching know that. Of course, you know that. And I think that there's, definitely a different mind behind this. And what one showrunner might have interpreted as rebellious and independent, to me, I interpreted it as annoying, immature, cruel, misogynistic, sexist, like all this sort of stuff, right? And in the hands of the current showrunner, from what I've seen of Renee so far, it feels like an entirely different character. I'm okay with that, because I didn't like the character before. And I think she's taking some of those same characteristics that were always intended to be there, but putting them in a way that is truer to, like, I think she and I maybe interpret like a term called the term rebellion probably more similarly. I don't know.
Yeah, can I add to that? Like, just quick thing that I feel like this season so far, the characters, and this could just be to the fact that it's season 7, but it feels like the characters have more opportunities to breathe, and I have more time to take them in. And I don't feel like everything is being smushed together and being forced to swallow down this giant drink of juice or something. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot more pacing, and I think that will be something that also comes across in like characters like Renee, and even like, I'm glad that I'm getting a break from Curtis right now, because he was like, I'm one of those people who I didn't have a problem with him when he was first introduced, but I was just getting really frustrated. And to have some time where he has his little moments, his scenes, and then I cannot see you for a bit. It's nice. I like the pacing right now.
Yeah, I agree. And I think having a break and doing that reintroduction, like I'll get kind of annoying and resistant about it. And I'll be like, I'm not going to forgive Renee because I still remember what he did, and all that sort of stuff. Or, you pointed out with Dinah, a really good point, which I hadn't really thought of, is like some of the stuff that she supposedly needs to be learning right now. She learned like a season ago. Did we just mysteriously forget, stuff like that. But if I'm thinking of it, hopefully in the context of a reintroduction, that they're intentionally kind of reintroducing this character and switching up some stuff because they needed to fix some stuff, and this is the fastest way to do it. I'll try to be a little more forgiving.
Yeah.
Jumping in the chat really quick because there's been some interesting discussion there. Amanda commented, Felicity sleeping on Renee's couch while he has his daughter. She doesn't have her son because of all of her sacrifice. It's just cruel. Carrie said, the dark girl's outfit reminds me of Mila Jokovich's character on Ultraviolet. Google it. May not have pronounced some of that right, but I will Google that. Stormy was kind of agreeing about the Renee thing. I think a couple others are, and also echoing your issue with Curtis and his need for reintroduction as well. A lot of people saying that they like that Renee is helping Felicity, and that's kind of bringing him back around, which is a very classic Arrow character move, is if you have a character that nobody's liking, you pair them with a character that everybody loves, which is always Felicity. So Felicity ends up having to be the best friend of all, which like I knew. I brought this on myself. Like I spent a whole season complaining about Renee. What do I think's gonna happen? Like they're gonna make him be best friends with my least favorite character. Like I've been there, done that, bought the t-shirt. I knew that was gonna happen. It's fine though. It's working, I think.
I've been there, bought there, bought this. What did she say? I got you.
Yep. Stormy commented, Renee hasn't said Haas in 3 episodes. That alone makes me
leave Renee alone.
Great Goku says, don't jinx it, Stormy. I hope that him dropping the Haas thing is part of his reintroduction. I hope we don't bring that back. We don't need Renee's greatest hits.
No, I think Haas is dead just because Reddit and Felicity fandom came together about that.
Yeah,
I think everyone was over Haas.
Yeah.
I'm that person who's also sitting here like, Renee, I didn't hate him. The only person I think I hated last season.
Yeah.
I just did not like last season.
Yeah.
There was a lot of last season that I did not like.
Mm-hmm.
It was very frustrating, but it wasn't as bad. Which was the season I hated or struggled with?
Season 4 was the season I think a lot of people struggled with. Was that it? Yeah.
Oh, season 4 was a lot.
Yeah. Season 4 was, if I remember correctly, and y'all correct me if my timeline's way off, season 4 was the last season where, I'm just going to use names rather than being subtle, Andrew Kreisberg was still a little bit involved in Arrow, and then by season 5 he had like branched off and was mostly working with the other shows, and then by season 6 he got exposed for being a terrible sexual predator, whatever, and was like off all the shows. So I would say his influence was heaviest in seasons 1 through 4 of Arrow. So I'm willing to blame everything wrong with those seasons on him, for lack of a better explanation.
Let's go with it. Season, yes, yeah. I don't even like to think about that season. I had to pull myself through.
Last season had its real ups and downs, I will say. Like there were a lot of moments that there were some fantastic. I still remember the episode last season where Oliver was high on vertigo and Prometheus came back, which was just a relief because we were all kind of like, ugh, Dragon's so boring right now. So we had Prometheus come back through his visions, and then we had that fantastic scene where you have Prometheus and Felicity, and Oliver has to be able to tell what's real, what's not real. There were just those moments like that that were fantastic that reminded me why I've loved the show, but then the rest of like the overall story kind of was a bit of a drag because there were some very serious villain issues at the same time that the OTA NTA split was happening. So it was very hard to like connect to either a hero or a villain. Both sides had fractures.
Yeah, and I think the writing felt very forced, I would say, on that split, because we could all see it. We could all see what I'm not to speak against the writing team because Arrow, you gave me a show that I enjoy to talk about. But the NTA, OTA split and whatever, like you could see through the fact that they needed some drama, and then they piecemeal them together, but then you throw them back together and you don't even do it in a correct way. Like, I'm down for, a miniature civil war. Okay, gotta do it right.
Right.
And it was frustrating, but
yeah. I remember at the time, again, and like we're kind of going back on like Arrow season 6 greatest hits, but I remember at the time when the civil war of the teams was originally going to happen, and we were all kind of doing like our draft picks of like who we think it would be, because we're like, if they're not going to do OTA versus NTA, no one will care about NTA, and that's exactly what happened. Also in the chat, a lot of comments, Suzanne Crockett, Rengoku, all of them commenting on how much they're enjoying Renee and Felicity working together. So I will try to be less salty about it and appreciate it with you. And also good comment here saying, if we needed a repeat villain, it should have been Chase, Prometheus. Fantastic character, writing, acting, good enunciation. Very true. I'm not... I usually like to end this with what I'm looking forward to. So what I'm looking forward to, I'll put it in a positive way. I'm looking forward to getting to know all the other villains, because we've had plenty of chance, I think, to get to know Dragon, and hopefully he's done well. Like same thing as some of the other characters, a reintroduction. That's fine. That's great. Reintroduce him by all means. But I want to meet the Longbow Hunters, especially the ladies of the Longbow Hunters.
Yeah.
Please and thank you.
Yeah.
What about you? What are you looking forward to seeing this season?
Okay. So this season, I'm really looking forward to seeing what happens after Oliver comes back, because we know he's going to come back.
Yes.
I'm really enjoying, let me not skip ahead, I'm enjoying this prison thing.
Yes.
I love how he's been at this, level 3 for this amount of time, and now he's going to level 2. Like, you just up the ante. We're going to see another level of savage Oliver, like tonight. That fight scene,
that was crazy.
Poof! I was like, what is happening? This man just jumped up and tried to take this guy out. Like, what's going on? So that was great. But I want to see what the consequences are going to be of this time in prison, how it's going to affect Oliver and Felicity. And I'm really curious about how we go forward with Felicity. I don't think Arrow has that much time left. Not anything negative. It's just
it's season 7.
We're running a bit out. I mean, I remember watching Smallville till we ended, and it was like, oh my gosh. But with Arrow, I want to see what they're going to start doing to maybe introduce some new elements to Oliver and Felicity's relationship, take a dynamic in the team. What is there besides, we've done the split now, we've done the team breakup. So what do we do next? How do we help the city? I want to see more politics in
yes,
because I feel like there is enough that they have built into this this universe that they could, especially this season, and with the writers that they have and the showrunner that they have, I think they could attempt to tackle some more political stories about things that are happening in our city. And I want to get a better idea of what their hopes are with the flash forwards, because now we've committed to them. As like I said earlier, they're not going away. I know some people aren't fans of the flash forwards, but it's here now, and I'd like to have a better idea of what they hope to end the show with. Start thinking like 2-year plans. How do we want to see these characters end up? I don't want any rushing conclusions for these characters that I've spent, 6 going on 7 years now. Like there needs to be a decent set of closure that happens. So yeah, I mean, outside, like there's crossover stuff, and I kind of want to see if Batman actually shows up before it ends. I mean, he's been teased forever.
He has been.
Like it's just forget it. Let's do this now. I mean, let's not do the last episode, throw on like a suit Clark Kent Smallville. Let's bring people that we've been waiting for. Let's do it and move on. Like I want to have those nice moments. So I'm looking forward to the rest of the season. It's gonna be good.
It is. You see why I brought her on? She listed everything I wanted. She listed everything I wanted. Yeah, it's exactly my fear, my concern is I I don't mind when shows go on multiple seasons. You know, I think like 5 or 6 for most shows is a sweet spot. But if it goes on, you know, it's like the cons are it'll start diminishing, but the pros are you get more of your favorite characters, so it's fine. But I just want storylines to get the amount of time they're due, and so when you suddenly find yourself in a position where the show's ending in a year or whatever, and that's a short amount of time to wrap up like 7 to 9 character storyline, you know, it does concern me. And I do hope that they are planning in advance, taking that into consideration and giving the stories the time that they're due, especially, you know, Oliver, Diggle, and Felicity, that they're getting the development that they deserve after all these years and the commitment that they've put into it.
Family, please. It's like, this is actually embarrassing, low key. I'm surprised I don't feel more embarrassed about the fact that we have not seen his family. It's season 7. Like, that actually blows my mind. The other day I said I've never, like, we've seen Donna, we've seen Noah, we've seen Oliver's drama and probably more of Oliver's drama, but we haven't seen anything to do with Diggle's family outside of Lila and JJ and Baby, of course. But yeah, I mean, that's a major thing. Like, they should definitely get into season 7 and give us a lot of that, because it's long overdue.
And it would just be fun to do. Like, it's fun to see characters be like, because we're getting new characters all the time on the show, and a lot of times they're coming out of the blue without ties to our existing characters. And if you're introducing new characters in the context of having a tie to an existing character, like, introduce someone and have it be like Diggle's cousin or something. Like, it's just, you know, just fun things like that we can care about, that they can have a history, and they can, I don't know. I think it just
automatic buy-in for the audience. Like, automatically we care because he's connected to someone or she's connected to someone that we already love. You know what I mean? It's an easy way to just get your audience on board and try and investigate the rest of that story.
Yeah, absolutely. There's some really good comments in the chat as well of things that people are looking forward to. Rengoku pointing out, let's hope the demon is the real big bad. Lisa is saying, yes, the Longbow Hunters is also what she's interested in. She also says the season is even better than season 1 for her. That's pretty high praise. Stormy's looking forward to Felicity still being the badass she is and getting her husband out of jail. Rengoku has some fan casting options for Batman. He suggests Robbie might be a good Batman.
Anyone seen the rumor about Louis Tan?
Who?
Louis Tan from Iron Fist. He was that one guy.
Oh, no.
Yeah, there's a rumor.
I'm in. I'm all for it.
I'm in.
Rengoku also says, regarding what you said about Diggle's family, David Ramsey's mother was upset that Diggle and Oliver had a falling out, and he suggests they cast David Ramsey's mother as Diggle's mother. That would be so cute.
That would be nice.
I've seen other shows, like I watch and review Suits as well, and one of the main characters on there, they had like his parents make like a quick cameo on the show. So cute. I love when they do things like that. I'm sorry?
Harvey's parents?
It was actually Lewis's parents. Rick Hoffman's real life mom and dad like had a little cameo on the show. It was very cute. Yeah. Well, I had a fantastic time talking with you, and I kept you 8 minutes over time. I feel bad, but if anybody else watching wants to chat with you about Arrow, about fun, nerdy, superhero-y things, where can they find you?
You can find me at No Choice to Make. So the no is N0 and then choice to make. And I chat there and I show up and I like to talk about CW shows, even with all the drama they bring, but it's okay.
She does. And also already have her information in the description down below. So you can go find her, thank her, talk to her. She's got great theories and ideas and stuff. My information is also in the description down below. And I will see you guys all same time, same place next week. Thank you so much, Raquel, for joining.
Thank you for having me. Bye.
Anytime.